And I tried hard to be proud of my service, but all I could feel was shame. And racism could no longer mask the reality of the occupation. These were people, these were human beings. I feel guilt anytime I see a mother with her children, like the one who cried hysterically and screamed that we are worse than Saddam as we forced her from her home. We were told we were fighting terrorists. The real terrorist was me, and the real terrorism is this occupation.
This man was innocent. I don't know his name. I called him the Fat Man, and I shot him in front of his friend and his father.
Those who send us to war do not have to pull a trigger or lob a mortar round. They do not have to fight the war, they merely have to sell the war. And the ruling class, the billionaires who profit from human suffering, care only about expanding their wealth, controlling the world economy. Understand that their power lies only in their ability to convince us that war, oppression, and exploitation is in our interest. They understand that their wealth is dependent on their ability to convince the working class to die to control the market of another country.
War is not about honor. This war is about profiteering. This war is about money. You have civilians, private contractors who are sitting in Iraq and their fat asses doing nothing, getting paid $100,000 plus. We're nothing but pawns being used for their political agendas. When are we going to realize that people fighting in Iraq against us, they're not terrorists, they're soldiers. What would we do if somebody invaded us? I know I will pick up my weapon and fight against them. What the hell we call them? Terrorists? These people want their country back. Let's give them their country back.
Contrary to popular belief in most Western cultures, Islam is a religion that preaches peace and tolerance. Yes, Patricia.
If Islam truly is a religion that preaches peace, then how come the world's most troubled spots, the West Bank, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, they're all plagued with Islamic terrorism?
That depends on your definition of terrorism. Some might argue that the U.S. invasions of countries like Iraq and Afghanistan are also acts of terrorism.
No, those were acts of war to get rid of despotic regimes.
Or a means of getting at a country's oil.
Conspiracy theories.
Well, yeah. Yes, please. Go ahead, Russ.
Mr. Khan is right. I mean, if we're talking about terrorists, the world's biggest terrorists are the white superpowers.
Come on now.
No, really. Stop and think about it.
Explain 9/11.
Okay. Do you know how many people died in the Twin Towers strike?
Around 3,000.
And do you have any idea how many people died in the bombing of Afghanistan? Take a wild guess. More than 15,000 people died. And that's just conservative figures. About 50,000 tons of explosives were dropped on innocent civilians. Men, women, children.
But that was because of the Taliban.
Now that you brought it up, did you know that the Taliban was a creation of the CIA to fight the Russians?
Whatever. They were still harboring terrorists.
Yeah, right. Terrorists that were never found. Just like the weapons of mass destruction that were never found in Iraq. Do you want to get into the death toll in Iraq? 500,000 civilians and counting. And what do Britain and America say when they don't find these weapons? It's simple. They just say sorry. And still refuse to relinquish control of these countries.
What are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is that just because you're American, wear a fancy suit, and call yourself the president, doesn't make you any less of a terrorist. I'm saying that if you don't stop meddling in other people's countries, you will face a backlash.
If Muslims like you feel that way, then why don't you get out of our country?
We will. As soon as you promise to leave ours.
To the U.S. government, those who commit terrorism against a country that the United States doesn't want to deal with and so forth, they are not terrorists, they're freedom fighters.